Hello there. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're talking about the lies that are keeping women over 40 from stepping into visibility. So this is really a mindset video, particularly for women who are over 40 and 50 years of age. I myself am 48 years of age, and so I have battled with myself with some of these issues. Um, and some of them I still am working through. And so this is really for women. I'm speaking to women who have all the experience, they have all the intelligence, they know they have the depth that they have been working on in their work. But they're just not getting the visibility that they want because there's something that's sort of keeping them in hiding, something that's keeping them from fully stepping into the person that they know that they are. Um, Not because you aren't able to, but really it's personal beliefs that you are still holding on to that is keeping you from moving forward. And so if you are new here, my name is Helana Black. I am a writer and an editorial consultant. I have been traveling the world since 2018. And I currently live in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and I am trading in my beach paradise life for living in the desert in San Miguel de Allende, and uh, I am sharing my journey and creating the creative space that I've always wanted to have with you here on YouTube. So I hope that you stay to learn more about that. But today we're talking about the lies that we tell ourselves that keep us from being more visible. Lie number one, I need to be more confident first. I need to be more confident first. Confidence is often treated like a prerequisite to the thing that you want to be able to do. But actually, what I have learned is that confidence actually comes after the action. It comes after doing the thing that you actually wanted to be confident in. Um, for example, public speaking is not my thing. I've been saying this, but like public speaking is not, maybe I should stop saying that. But generally speaking, like the public, I should say public speaking is not a natural talent for me. I'm a much more confident writer than I am a public speaker. And a lot of the women that I work with are usually the opposite. They are very confident public speakers, but they tend to not be very public when it comes to, or they don't feel as confident when it comes to their writing for a number of reasons. Um, at least for me, I'm just not very well practiced in it. So I've leaned on where my skills feel the most um, practiced. I've been a writer since I was a young kid. I've always known, I can remember in the first grade feeling like, oh, I knew English, I knew writing much better than I did math. And so I've always been a very confident writer. I've been told I was been a very good writer in school since I was very young. And so I've always taken that. But everyone has always talked about how, just how quiet I am, how quiet they think I am, and then they don't really understand why. Um, but as I have gotten older and have had to step into learning how to be able to be a business person, I find that learning how to be able to be a more confident public speaker is important to me being able to meet people, to be able to get new clients, to be able to share my message with other people. Um, because, they need to be able to see you, hear you, be able to feel who you are through how you speak before they actually read the things that I write. And sometimes it's the other way around too. But what I'm learning through this process of public speaking, at least on YouTube anyway, I am learning that I am becoming a more confident speaker because I'm actually doing the thing. I'm actually doing the speaking on YouTube so that when it comes time for me to actually get up on a stage, I won't be absolutely brand new to the space. And it's the same thing with those of you who are less confident writers. I teach a class on writing for magazines. Everyone always says that they want to be able to write a book, but they really haven't put the time and the energy into writing shorter things to be able to see what ideas actually catch on with the public audience. And so I like to be able to talk about writing for magazines as being that confidence builder. It's the prerequisite that you need to be able to feel confident that you can write a book that people are actually going to want to buy. And I really think that that's important. The visibility is what builds the confidence. It's not the other way around. If you wait to write the book, right? If you wait to write the book, it's number one, it often takes people longer just because they haven't taken the time to be able to write things where they feel like um, their message is actually resonating with people. Um, they haven't had the time to be able to practice through several iterations of their message, of having it written down in different places, and seeing if it resonates with different audiences and different magazines. That's a really important step to you being a more confident writer. Um, but you don't necessarily need to be more confident. You don't necessarily need to do the book first. It's that you need to be able to do shorter writing. And so the confidence comes with doing the shorter writing. If you create the visibility that you need, you'll be able to get it. And so waiting until you feel ready keeps you invisible. The second lie, excuse me, the second lie, excuse me, is that a lot of women believe that they don't know enough yet. And these would be women with PhDs, that might have two PhDs, two different types of doctorates, talking about I don't know enough yet. I got to do more research. Very, very common among smart women. Um, doesn't necessarily have to do with your level of education or experience because you spend decades learning. You have, life experiences. You have, work experiences. And you keep comparing yourself to people um, who might be louder, for example, on social media, but not necessarily, they may be louder, but not necessarily in context. They might not have more depth to what it is that they're saying. Um, However, because they are louder than you, they're willing to put themselves out there with whatever it is that they have. They're willing to work with what it is that they have. They get more visibility. You see this all the time. You see folks who get up on stage and um, they are not nearly as eloquent, not nearly as practiced, not nearly as poised, but in the back of your mind, you're still working. You're still working on the thing that you want to be able to say. Um, but here's the thing that's important to know is that expertise is not knowing everything. You don't need to know everything. It's knowing what matters. It's knowing how to communicate what matters in the moment. And that you can do. A person who is well experienced knows how to be able to pull from a hat whatever needs to be said or whatever needs to be communicated, whatever needs to be trained, people need to be trained on, what bit of extra confidence boost that people need to be able to get through their day. You know how to do that. You know when and where to be able to pull that information out of your hat. And that's really the difference. And so it's not that you don't know enough yet. It's a lie. You know plenty. You just need to be able to do the thing. Lie number three, I don't want to be self-promotional. This is one that I had to work on for years. In the very beginning of my business, my road in learning how to be a business person. Does not come natural to me. Selling myself does not come natural to me. This is a skill that I have had to purposely go out and learn. I want to be able to give everything away. I have a nonprofit background. And so my take on like I didn't even want to be able to I never even learned how to be able to organize my career so that I would make the money that I need to be able to take care of myself later. I always put, just so long as I'm out here helping the community, everything will be good. I will be taken care of in the process of taking care of my community. And as I got older, I learned that sure as hell is not true at all. As a matter of fact, the community will leave you for dead. But that's a different story. Community will surely leave you for dead because you are out here trying to self-sacrifice. Um, But women in particular, we learn that we don't need to be self-promotional. And so instead, like myself, we are trained that we need to be helpful, we need to be humble. Um, you can sit in the background and be quiet. But visibility sometimes feels like bragging. And we don't like to feel like we are bragging. Um, However, I have had to learn that sharing my ideas is really not ego. It's just a matter of contributing something that is important to the world, and it's being able to be helpful to people. That's really how I look at what I do now. I have something important to say that actually is helpful to other people. And in order for them to be able to take advantage of that, I need to be able to be paid for it. I just need to be able to be paid for it. And I don't need to apologize for that. This is how this works now in this stage of life for me. And so it's not so much a feeling of being self-promotional um, as it is you learning that selling your services teaches you that you are able to be um, helpful to people who need what it is that you have to share. And people can't benefit from what they can't find. They can't benefit from what they can't find. If you are hidden somewhere in the back, if you are afraid to be able to state clearly what it is that you do, if you are not clear on what it is that you offer to people, that's going to be a problem. You can't change lives. We say that we want to be able to change lives, change the world, but at the same time, you're afraid to be able to get up and say, this is what I offer, and this is the price that I offer this service at. Line number 4, this is a big one. It's too late for me. I'm meeting women in their 30s who are saying it's too late. The mind screw that we put women into is really unfortunate. To make women believe that somehow when they hit their 30, you still learning in your 30s. My God, I remember who I was when I was 35 years old, still just trying to figure my way out of hell. Um, and when we take that on, there's really just this sort of a mindset. I'm noticing now, as I said before, I'm 48 years old. And so I meet other women my age. Less so now that because I live overseas that I have a life where I've sort of jumped out and done something unconventional with my life. I meet a lot of other women who are also living an unconventional life. But in a lot of the women that I speak to who are still at home in the United States, who have yet to choose their unconventional life or have chosen other things in favor of rather than, or I should say, they've chosen to live other things outside of what it is that they truly want in their heart. is that there starts to be at this age of 40, late 40s, early 50s, there starts to be a self-defeating language that I find to be scary because it's a language where it's like they're almost preparing for the end, and of course it shows up in their body. And, a lot of, excess weight. They tend to be on some sort of medication for chronic illnesses that can be taken care of if you took the steps to be able to take care of it. Um, and just feeling like, like it's too late. This language of it's too late for me, or the decisions that you made are you can't do anything to rectify, what it is that you created in your life. And that's scary. That's scary for me to watch. Um, One, it helps me to understand that I made a good choice for me. When I decided to choose myself, when I moved overseas, to be able to take my life and my business overseas, to be able to choose a different way to live, I chose the right thing. Because now I understand that I have so much more learning to do. I have so much transformation to be able to experience. And it hurts my heart to see other women um who are just sort of, planning life like it's hard out here. It's just hard to get out of bed. Your body is hurting. You might be in a relationship where you don't feel valued and respected. You don't feel alive. You feel stuck. Um, you're listening to other people who are putting you in some sort of a cage, at least in your mind, where you feel like, this is the end for you. And it's not. I swear to God, I feel like I'm just getting a second wind to my life because I have so much in front of me to be able to experience. Like literally the whole world is opening up for me, and I'm barely at 50 years old. I'll be 49 in May. I'm so freaking excited. I'm so excited about my life, and how it is that I am growing. And I really want this for other women. I want other women to be able to create this for themselves. And it requires a certain number of it requires intention. It requires deciding to make a decision to be able to do this. And it requires committing yourself to the plans that you need to make in order to make it to the other side. Um, and so, as I was saying, a lot of women at this age in their 40s and 50s will start with the "it's too late for me." And again, I've even heard this in women who are in their 30s. They'll say, "Oh, I can't do that because I should have started earlier." Um, they'll say things like, the internet is for younger people. Um, and part of that I can sort of understand that statement. The internet is for younger people. And it's not so much that the internet is for younger people. They're more open to being able to practice. They are much earlier to being able to use certain tools and are willing to change. It's not that the internet belongs to younger people. The internet belongs to everybody. And at the same time, one of the things that we have that is actually in our favor is that credibility actually increases with age. You have more credibility because you've been here longer. Your lived experience actually compounds, hopefully in wisdom. We hope that your lived experience compounds and it becomes wisdom. And you have more to be able to share to help young people to understand certain things. We just have to learn how to be able to use those tools to be able to get our message out, those internet tools, to be able to use artificial intelligence or AI tools, to be willing to experiment, to be willing to look silly. So it's not too late for you. And because I'm willing to do those things, Um, I don't feel like it's too late for me. I'm willing to jump into the deep end and just, you figure it out as you go along, which really is what I've been doing the whole time. Even when I was younger and I was using all the Gen X is the first generation to be able to use tools like Facebook, you know, the internet in general. I remember my first year in college and being in chat rooms when I was in college, just wasting time, literally wasting time, hours, late night hours, going to the computer room. And I think that the administration really thought that we were in there doing homework, and really a lot of us were just in there chatting with people we had no business chatting with. Um, but I digress. Midlife is really not the end. It's a season of more authority, of being able to get up and being able to share what it is that you know with people. And because of your age, because of your experience, um, you'll find that more people are going to be willing to listen. But you have to have the attitude that it's not too late for me. I'm actually right on time. So lie number five. Lie number five, we tell ourselves that keep us from being visible. I need permission. I need permission or I need validation. So we're waiting on things like credentials. Yes, even after the two PhDs. God help us. A lot of us, we want to be able, in order to feel like we can do something, we have to go and get the credentials. We have to go and get the certificates. Um, we need to be invited. We wait for other people to invite us to their room instead of simply creating where you are with the resources that you already have. We're waiting on approval from, people that we may look up to, but may not necessarily know that we even exist. And we think that because we don't have this person's approval, that we can't move forward. And so what I have learned is that you got to learn how to be able to approve yourself. I suffered with this sort of thinking a lot in my younger years. I had always waited for someone to see something in me in order for me to be able to move forward. Um, and I'm glad I didn't get it. I'm glad I didn't get it because that experience of not being um, recognized for the hard work that I did working in nonprofit organizations um, helped me to see at some point that I was actually made to do something else. Something else meaning learning how to be able to create um, money, my own money through commerce. Um, and that requires an acknowledgement of remembering that you already know enough, that you already have good ideas that are waiting to be sold to people, that people need what it is that I have to offer. Um, it took me a while to be able to figure out what that is, but I've been a writer for 20 years. And so, I've learned that writing is a very, very valuable skill that people actually pay top dollar for. Um, and so from my experience of being younger and working in nonprofit organizations and just sort of waiting and sitting back for someone to say, let me take this person, let me take Halana under my wing and sort of show her the work ropes of how to be here. And I really realized that my mindset is not made for that environment in nonprofits and also in education, both of which are, very much helping professions. And there's nothing wrong with either of those things. That we need good people to work in nonprofits and in educational institutions. We need these people in this world. But what I learned about how it is that I move in the world is my brain moves a little too fast to be sitting and waiting for things to be able to change. I feel like I am much more effective in creating business systems that actually people can learn faster from. I was losing my mind sitting in a regular higher education situation because you have to learn how to be able to work within a system that, at least in my opinion, is quite slow and broken down. And a lot of I won't say everyone, but a lot of the people that I worked around um, just really had a self-defeatist attitude about their place um, in the world. And it was just a feeling of, well, this is kind of it for us. This is the way it is, and this is how it's always been. So we're just going to deal with it because we don't know how to do anything else. I decided that there was something else that I could do. And I decided that I want to learn how to do business, and that's what I do now. Um, and so while you are waiting for permission, there's all sorts of other people who are showing up with less information, less training, less mentorship. And they step forward with whatever it is they got. They claim their authority. And because they claim their authority with time, they grow an audience bit by bit. No one granted them anything. And so the lie that you keep telling yourself that I need permission or I need validation before I actually step up into visibility. Um, that's a mindset that needs to be demolished, really. And then the final one, lie number 6. If I were meant to be seen, it would be easier. The truth is that visibility can be uncomfortable by its very nature. Growth always creates some kind of friction. So experiencing difficulty is not a sign that you're doing it wrong, but rather it's a sign that you're just doing something new. And when you do something new, it takes you time to be able to get it right, to get it to a point where you actually feel good about what it is that you are creating. Um, so yes, growth is supposed to be uncomfortable. Just because you did all the training programs, the degree programs, the certificate programs, and the mentorship program, doesn't mean that you know everything that there is to know about everything. You just need to be able to go out there with what it is that you have and practice with what lands with people. And you'll never know unless you actually run out there and do it. So what's the real cost of holding on to these lies is that number one, you stay invisible, and then that doesn't protect you because you don't get to build the business that you actually want to be able to build. It keeps your work smaller than it actually deserves to be. And it keeps other people from finding you, people who actually need what it is that you have to offer. You can't, people can't find your framework, your new way of doing things, your new way of thinking, your new way of whatever it is that you do. They can't benefit from that unless you actually get up and say something. So you don't need more confidence, you don't need more credentials, you don't need more time. What you do need is more clarity. What you need is more commitment. And what you need is more self-trust and a real willingness to be seen before you actually feel ready. So yeah, that's what I want to end it on today. I always like to leave with a question of the day. Question of the day. Which belief about visibility or success have I been carrying that no longer fits the woman I am now? Which belief about visibility or success have I been carrying that no longer fits the woman I am right now? I'm going to put this question in the comments for you to be able to see and respond to. Leave a comment if you would like. Tell me, tell me where in the world you are leaving your comment from, because that's always interesting to see. And, just briefly tell me, where is it that you've been um, hiding and you know that it no longer fits you? And so really that's all that I have for today. Let's see, a couple of things that I am working on right now. I have a class coming up February 22nd, 2026. It's called Pitching Magazines with Confidence. Confidence. It is an 8-week small group live course. We meet for 8 Sundays from 2 p.m. Eastern Time for about an hour, hour and a half. And there'll be some group work during the week. And really what it is it's an opportunity for you to be able to sit down and um, work with learning how to be more confident with pitching your ideas to a magazine. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Um, some people, okay, when pitching magazines, it's really easy to get really excited about coming up with this really great magazine article. You put all your effort and your energy into it, and you send it out, and it's crickets. You don't hear anything, or maybe even if you're lucky, they'll give you a rejection, a quick rejection note. And one of the things that I personally have had to learn is that none of this is ever personal. And there was a point in my writing career, long time ago. Um, as I said, I've been writing for 20 years now. But in my early days of writing, I would let rejection or even um, the thought of rejection keep me away from actually pitching an idea or writing something because I'm afraid that people won't understand. But the thing I had to learn is that if you don't put the idea out there, you'll never get to be able to benefit from a potential yes either. And so you don't grow, you don't improve, you don't get to move forward because of your own fear. And so that's really what we're working on in the group. We're learning how to be able to practice communicating good ideas with our editors. And, the people in the group are people who are also experts. Um, they have ideas that they want to be able to write books. They want to be able to do public speaking. Um, they want to be able to do a number of things that helps people to um, that's going to help them move their ideas forward. And they're really looking at the magazine writing as step number one in that process of getting themselves into a wider audience. Writing for magazines has been a really great way for me to be able to to be able to create social proof that I am a writer. Now that I have my ideas printed in places that people recognize, like Essence Magazine, Business Insider, Parents Magazine, um, and a few others. There's no misunderstanding what it is that I do for a living. Because sometimes the family and friends, they know I do something on the internet and that it helps me to be able to travel the world and how I'm able to live a life outside of the United States. Um, but they don't really get it until they see the articles that I've written in other places. And I'm like, I've been writing for 20 years. And they're like, yeah, but we didn't understand that until we saw until we saw your work and your byline written in these other places. And then, it could very well, if you're a person who is an expert and you want more people to be able to understand what it is that you do as a consultant, a trainer, a speaker, um, anything along those lines, um, having your byline and be able to say that I am the trainer um, who has been featured in the Business Insider magazine, who has been featured in um, you know, uh, Cosmopolitan magazine or wherever else it is that it's on your heart to be able to be published. Um, this could be very much a part of your visibility plan to be able to get other people to take you just a little bit more seriously about your message. So that's what I wanted to share. If you want information on that, you can just hit the link in the description box. Also, please do click like, share this video with another writer, an expert, another woman in business, um, another woman who is over 40 or 50 and needs some encouragement to move forward with her plans to grow her business. This is especially for you. So thank you so much. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.